Mic check, mic check. We are back with another episode of the TryHard Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Happy Sunday or Monday, whenever you listen to this right now. I'm recording it right now, Sunday night. It's about 7:30 right now where I'm at in the United States of America. So I hope you guys are having a good weekend, but we're back. All right, we're going to start off the week nice and strong. Hey, we kept a good schedule last week, guys. We kept a good schedule last week, all right? We had 3 podcasts in 1 week. Hey, come on now. It's pretty good. All right, we're gonna go for 4 this week. We're gonna go for 4 this week. I hope if I'm not that busy this week with just normal life shit, we're gonna go for 4. But fuck all that. Listen, we are back. We're back with some more bullshit to talk about, more things to gossip about, some conspiracy theory. But you know what? First, before we get into all that, you know what time it is. Listen, guys, all right, we back. Okay, we back. How you guys been this weekend? I've been all right. I've been been busy. Been busy all weekend. Today I've been watching football. NFL's back. All right, if you're from the United States and you're listening to this right now, football season is back. All right, it's a big fucking deal. Football season, like college and NFL, is usually what holds us holds us over here in America as far as the off season from the Call of Duty scene. So it's good that we had our first week of NFL. This past weekend was the first weekend of college football as well, so we've been kind of into that. And I know any of you listening from overseas, if I have any listeners from overseas, you guys do not give a shit. But in America, it's a big deal. All right, it is a big deal. It holds us over from no COD, right? No CDL action, no majors, no. It's the off season, right? It's the off season in the esport. We gotta have something. We have to have something. A lot of you guys are playing other games, playing fucking Fortnite and Rocket League and League of Legends and CS:GO, all the other shit. Halo. I know there's a Halo event going on. I get all that, but for us who just play Call of Duty, if you're a fan of football, it's the best time. It's the best time. All right. And on top of that, this weekend was weekend number 2 of the BO6 beta. All right. There was a lot of things that they updated. They nerfed the Jackal that everybody was complaining about, so they took care of that. But from what I've heard, they didn't nerf it like anything crazy, just enough where it wasn't broken. They buffed a couple other weapons. I know there's now the C9, I think it is, the other sub everyone's using. So from what I'm hearing, the guns are fairly well balanced, which is, it's good, right? Again, it's a fucking beta. All right, it's a beta, so we shouldn't be getting crazy over these weapons right now because it's a beta. Shit could change, right? How many betas have we played where we're all using the same sub or the same AR, then the game drops and we're not even using that shit anymore. So who knows? But from what I've seen and have heard and read on the timeline, everyone seems to be kind of feeling a little bit better with the weapon balancing, which is a good thing. By the way, guys, the reason why I'm saying heard or read, I haven't even played the fucking beta yet. I played it last weekend, but I haven't played this one with the updates and shit. Just haven't had time, right? Haven't had time. Didn't really have like the urge to play it, I'll get into my explanation on that here in a minute. But the other consistent argument that I've heard with this beta is the maps. Everyone's saying the maps are horrible. Again, it's a fucking beta, so I'm hoping that they're holding on to the good maps for the release of the game, right? Cross our fingers, because listen, if you're involved in competitive COD, right? No matter how good the guns are, no matter how good the movement is, no matter how good the gunplay is, all that shit, no matter how good the game is, if the maps are dog shit, it just completely erases everything. It completely erases everything. So if the maps are horrible in the beta, we need to cross our fingers and hope that they're just not letting us see all the maps, and there's other maps that are going to be more suitable for competitive. But anyway, right now, again, it's a beta. You shouldn't even be worried about maps. You should just be playing the game, just trying to see if it's compatible to your play style, fun, and for the devs, I guess it's supposed to be like a test run to see if their game's ready for launch, which to me doesn't make any sense for TryHard, because wasn't one of their talking points was that this was like the first Call of Duty they've had in a while, but they have like a 4-year or 3 or 4 year cycle of actually working on the game. So you would think with that much time, the game comes out in October, you would think that the game should be done already, right? Should be. So I don't know. How much more different is it going to be from the beta to the actual release of the game, right? Other than the maps, some weapon balancing issues, testing the servers, glitches, all this and that. You would think that this BO6 version of the beta should be the closest possible product that we're previewing, right? You would think, but who knows, man? Who knows? Again, because it's a beta, and because of what we've experienced in the past with these other developers and Activision overall, it's hard to get like sucked into the hype, right? Pause. This is why I'm where I'm at with not playing the beta yet, right? Or not even that, just not having the urge to play it, right? I played it last weekend, got a little taste. It is what it is. Like the game, but I'm not going to sit there and grind it and waste hours with this sample size, right? To me, it just doesn't make any sense. Now, you have other people, competitive people who have been grinding the beta, content creators, all that. That's all cool. Go ahead, right? But for someone like me who's not a competitor, I don't compete. I don't have an org. I don't, most of my content within Call of Duty is mostly like, this type of stuff, right? Podcast, opinion videos, quick short videos. Not really much with the actual gameplay. If you follow me on TikTok, my personal account at GarzaBeats, I was kind of leaning towards doing gameplay content at the same time as doing this type of stuff, short clips, that TikTok type of stuff. But allegedly, TikTok doesn't want Call of Duty gameplay on their platform because it promotes violence, guns and all that. So whatever. So I've stayed kind of away from even posting anything on TikTok with gameplay. But so that's kind of been my reason why I haven't really been playing the beta. Again, I don't want to waste hours on this sample size. It's just not very conducive to what I'm trying to do with the content wise. And I'm actually proud of myself, man. I'm proud of myself that I haven't been wasting time on it with the beta. You know what I mean? Now, when the game comes out, all right, I know I'm talking this talk here and this and that, right, about not wasting time in the game. Listen, when the actual game comes out, at the end of the day, take the content away, take me and whatever I say on Twitter and the YouTube videos, all that, take all that shit away. At the end of the day, I'm involved with Call of Duty because I love Call of Duty, right? So a new Call of Duty game comes out, I'm going to play it and I'm going to grind it. It's just what it is. That's the whole point of me being involved in this space. It's because I love this game. I love the Call of Duty franchise, right? So when the game comes out, it's going to be a little bit of a different story. But with the beta, I'm not going crazy. I'm not grinding hours. I'm not streaming it. It's just, you know what I mean? It's there's no point for me on that. I'll talk about it, talk about what people are saying about it, all that stuff, the Omni movement, give my opinions on that, but I'm not going to grind it and say, oh, you should check this spot out. This map is good. This gun is really good. It's just pointless to me, in my opinion. But, so the beta, this is weekend 2 of the beta. Like I said, really the most consistent problem or complaint that I've heard of and read about was just the maps. The maps, everyone's complaining about the maps. There's not one map out of these maps that could be in competitive, blah blah blah. It's like, dude, again, guys, just hope and pray that Treyarch is just holding the good maps, for launch. Let's hope. You know what I mean? Let's hope. If not, it's gonna, it's fuck, right? It's kind of scary to think about what this game could miss out on, not even good maps. That's the thing. That's what we have to remember, guys. Is the bar is so low with these new Call of Duty games, right? It's so low that we're trained. We're trained to say, I hope we get this. I hope we get this. I hope we get this. Bro, it's Call of Duty. It should have good maps. It should have good guns. It should have good movement. Like, that's the way it was back in the day. Nowadays, we're just hoping for crumbs at the end of the day, which is fucking sad, bro. Because you know what I mean? It's, low key is kind of sad. We're legit hoping for crumbs, and most of the time that's all we get is crumbs, right? But yeah, week 2 of the beta. If you're listening right now and you're playing it, let me know in the comment of the YouTube video. Let me know what you think about it. Is it dumb? Rate it 1 out of 10. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the maps, the guns. Did the nerf work of the Jackal? Is it a normal gun now? Is it not broken? Let me know in the comments. Also, while you're on YouTube, listen. If you're listening right now on Apple Podcasts or listening on Spotify, go ahead and drop a follow on there to subscribe. Right? Subscribe, rate it, do whatever you can do to help the podcast out on those platforms, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. All right, drop a like. Let me know down in the comments where you're from. Do you enjoy the content? Do you think I'm gay? Am I dumb? Am I fat? Let me know. Let me know something in the comments. All right. We're steady trying to build this podcast up, and I'm gonna stay consistent. Now I just need to make sure that we got a good community that we're building of people who are active, right? We don't want to have no inactive community. I'll probably set up. I do have a Discord for the podcast. I just haven't invited anybody, released it to anybody. I haven't put it on Twitter or whatever. So maybe at one point we'll make that available to everybody, to join. But I don't know. Maybe we'll, maybe we're not. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to this past weekend. Today, bro, I've been watching football all day. Obviously spending time with my kids, my wife, but watching football all day. I've been betting on the games, right? Now, betting in our space in Call of Duty, in the Call of Duty competitive community, betting's a pretty big thing, right? Everyone does it. Everyone, either chows or bets on other things. I've never been one to really get involved with betting. It's not a thing that I'm like. It's never been a thing that I was looking forward to doing. But once you win, I understand how people get addicted to it, right? And again, you guys, when I'm betting very small amounts, $20, $30, $50 at the max, right? I'm not fucking putting up, hundreds of dollars on the line, right? I just don't have that type of rush to do. It's not something that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try to triple my money. No, I don't. You know what I mean? It's just not. But when you win, I get why people do that, right? Because at the end of the day, if you win that money, it's free money. You didn't work for it. It just happened, right? It was like a genie just showed up and gave you money. I never understood why people would win money like that, win money gambling, and then lose it all still. But when you win, I get it. Because now in your mind, it's like, well, I got $500 of free money that I did nothing for other than press a button. Let's double it up. If I lose it, I lose it. It was free anyway. I get that mindset now. It's fucked up. I get it. I see why people are addicted to it. Today I was betting on on football. I won 2 bets, right? Like, and my first thought was like, oh, well, free money, right? Free money. If I was an actual gambler, I would have fucking put all that money on another bet. But it's just like, for what, right? The reason why I say that, because I did some betting. I did some betting with Call of Duty during the CDL during the CDL season. I'm not going to mention the betting platform, because maybe one day we can have a sponsor betting platform. Maybe one day, right? You know, God willingly, right? Which we probably shouldn't say God and betting in the same sentence, but you know what I mean, right? Maybe one day we'll have a sponsor of a betting platform, or a gambling platform, whatever you want to call it. But during the CDL, I would bet, again, small amounts, 10, 20, 30, nothing major. And it is fun. It is fun, right? I would love putting money on, teams, or players that I knew, or you know what I mean? This team's going against this team. Let me put Shotzi for, they have him at 30 plus kills or 23 plus kills on map 1. I think he's going to get more than that. You know what I mean? It is fun. It is fun, but it can get out of control. I know. I've noticed how easily it can get out of control. So if you're a gambler, all right, and you're thinking about putting money on these football games, or when the CDL season comes back, just take your time, all right? Relax. Don't bet anything that you can't afford to lose. You know what I mean? Don't be betting car payments or mortgage payments or your school tuition. Don't be betting that. Don't be stupid, right? Don't be don't do it. Don't fucking do it. Behave, all right? Behave. Spend that money on DoorDash. You got me? Spend that fucking money on DoorDash. Order some Taco Bell with that $15. Eat like a king on DoorDash. Or better fucking yet, the little $20 you're about to put on this football game, take that 20 and order your shorty some DoorDash, all right? Order that little e-girl you've been talking to on Twitter. Hey, homie, let me send you a DoorDash gift card. You want to be a G? You want to feel like a G? Do some shit like that. Put the money to good use. Don't just give it away to a fucking betting site, right? Right? Or no? Am I wrong? Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, that's all. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Be careful when you guys bet, man. I don't want to hear stories of you guys fucking losing hundreds of dollars that you don't have, losing thousands of dollars that you don't have. It's a bad thing. What else should we talk about? Well, there's a little bit of roster mania stuff going on. We'll touch on that a little bit. Pause, but there's still a lot of stuff that's going to come out here. I would say this week there's like 2 announcements this week that should leak. We're going to talk about that too. There's going to be like 2 announcements this week that should leak. And one of them is roster mania, and one of them is something else with a CDL team. So we'll see if they leak. Now, if you're watching me on YouTube, I'm saying leak with explanation, with quotation marks, right? Finger quotations. I'm going to get into that a little bit. All right. So the other day, I saw that, the other day there was pretty much the people on the flank, Zuma. Here's my problem. All right. So if you follow me on Twitter, you follow me on X, every now and then I'll post something. I'll post something as like information, right? That maybe people don't know about. Okay. Now, a lot of times, most of the time, when I get that info, I'm assuming if I have that info, the people who are way more popular, the people with bigger platforms, have that info, right? I'm assuming. Okay. Now, when I get that info, right? Especially if it's from people that I gotta tread lightly before the way I say this. When it's people that I know that are connected with the situation, right? I'm letting that shit go. I'm letting it fly. I'll say it in the TL right away, right? I'm not holding back. I'm not a blog. I don't do fucking news blogging within the Call of Duty scene. I'm not CDL Intel. I'm not, Scrimtel or whatever, Scrim Intel or whatever. I'm not Jake Haley or whatever the hell his name is. I'm not those type of people. Like I don't get followings by being the one with the secrets, right? This is not what I'm not trying to be that, right? So if I get info, I'm letting that shit go. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not, if I come across info or it's given to me, I'm letting it go, right? I'm not holding it back. Okay. I don't feel the need to do that. Right. I've gotten info in the past where I knew it was wrong and almost like they were giving it to me, like for me to put it out for certain reasons, even though I knew that it was wrong. Didn't put it out, right? But if I get something that I know is real or right or correct, I'm gonna let it go, right? But I don't ask for permission, right? I'm not in this shit to have friends, right? I don't want to have friends within the CDL. Like it'd be cool to be friends with people, but it's not the end of the world, right? Because at the end of the day, I have a life outside of this. In fact, most of the people that I talk to on a daily basis in the real world have no idea that I'm involved in the Call of Duty competitive scene. None. They don't know I have a podcast about COD. They don't know I stream. They don't, you know what I mean? It's just, so this for me is not like something that I'm like banking on for my future or some shit, right? I do all this shit because I love to do it. I like it. I like to talk to you guys. I like to give you guys my opinions. I like to stream. I like to play Call of Duty. Like, these are all things that I like to do. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not something I'm banking on for my future. Okay. So again, when I get this information, I just let it go. Go ahead. Boom. I'll put it out. Whatever. Most of the time, it doesn't get any traction. Don't care. If you follow me, I'm going to give you the info. And when I know it's going to affect players that I know, I'm definitely letting that shit go. I'm definitely going to, say it, right? Now, if it's some info that's given to me or I find out by accident, right? And it's like time sensitive stuff, out of respect of just being a respectful person, I'm not going to fucking be an asshole about it, right? I'm not going to do that, right? But I'm not going to ask for permission to do it or not do it. I'm just going to hold it because I want to. Not because someone's telling me to. It's because I want to. Now, the problem with these and again, this is my conspiracy. Like, I'm not saying this is true. I'm not saying it's not true. It's just my opinion on the matter. In fact, we're at one point, once this podcast gets bigger, we're gonna have a Call of Duty COD conspiracy segment where I just give you my fucking conspiracies and certain issues within the scene. That's for a later date. But so I feel like if I have information, right? When I have information, it's hard for me to believe that I'm the only one that has it. Right? It's hard for me to believe that. So I feel like sometimes when I get info, whoever gave it to me, voluntarily, I feel like I'm not the only person they gave it to, right? So I hate it. It annoys me, and I'm not sure why it annoys me, but it annoys me. It annoys me when I release stuff. I let people know about things, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Most of the stuff that I leak or that I just let go, I do it when I'm streaming. I'm not even trying to. I'm just talking, right? And I'll say it, right? Most of the time, like actually 95% of the time, I'm just conversating with my stream and I'm just letting information go. Not on accident, not on purpose. It's just, again, none of this stuff is real stuff. Like it's not, you know what I mean? If it's something that's gonna affect someone's money, yeah, I'm gonna hold that. But if it's just normal shit like roster moves, coaching spots, CDL teams merging, event stuff, I'm gonna let it go. Like who cares, right? But what annoys me though is when you have these other Intel blogs, right, or podcasts or whatever you want to call them, the Flank, CDL Intel, Scrimtel, JK, all those guys, right? I always find it interesting that when they post stuff within the next 2 hours or 3 hours, sometimes within a half hour after they leak something, the official announcement comes out, right? Why is that? Now, someone could say, well, they had the announcement ready and these guys just found out before it was going to come out. So the org or the player or the team or whatever is just saying, F it, release the information now. They already know, right? That, which is true. That could be a possibility. But I think that it's all on purpose. I think when these guys get this information, they're told when to leak it and when not to leak it. That's what I think. All right. I'll give you an example. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example of that. In last season, beginning of the season, I found out that there was only going to be 2 opens or 3 opens. Yeah, I found out there was only going to be 3 challenger opens, right? I found that out 30 minutes later. I put it on the timeline. Go ahead. Put it on the timeline, right? I got called fucking an idiot. I'm dumb. I had challenger players telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. I had other challenger players retweeting it saying this guy's got crack. Pretty much just everybody doubted. And again, I didn't take any offense to it, right? I'm just like, all right, whatever. It's just information that I know. You take it or not, whatever. 2 months later, or a month later, a month and a half later, something like that. A month and a half later, 2 months, whatever. The leak comes out from the other people who leak intel with the exact same thing I said, right? Now, a couple people from my stream had my back and they were like, hey, Garza told us this shit fucking a month and a half ago. Why are you guys so late, right? Again, guys, it goes back to my theory. If I know it, if I have that information, there's no way in hell that they don't have that information. That the more well-known platforms, right? The more well-known Intel platforms. It's no way they don't have the information, right? Just, I don't know. There was something I was thinking about, guys. All right, I think they need to stop these Intel blogs and podcasts need to stop with like the leak clickbait. It's not just don't say it's a leak. It's not a leak. Just say, hey, we got some information. They said we can release it this time. Okay. There you go. Don't try to build some kind of like mystery around how you're getting this information. It's not like you're going out there and putting pieces together, like you're going out there and doing some kind of investigation. Someone's coming to you, DMing you, and telling you what's going on. That's all they're doing. That's it. And then what I think is most of the time they're saying, hey, by the way, don't say nothing until this time. Therefore, to me, that's not a leak. You need permission to say what you want to say. That's not a leak. All right. I don't know why I went on this rant, but I felt like I had to say it, man. It's been annoying the shit out of me. All right. It's been annoying the shit out of me. We'll get into more of that stuff later on during the week. Like again, this week I'm expecting 2 announcements. One roster mania announcement, and then and I'm assuming the other one's going to be this team announcement, or not a team announcement. Like it's going to be a team leak or whatever, or one of the orgs. It's going to be some information with one of the current orgs. Whatever. We'll get out of that shit. What else should we talk about? Let's talk about some roster mania stuff. I think the most roster mania, they've done a good job this offseason with keeping shit in the tuck, pause, as far as the roster stuff. I think right now everyone's really focused on the whole LA Thieves thing, the whole scrap thing with Cloud9. Everyone's really, I feel like everyone's trying to figure out if that's going to happen or not going to happen. But we'll talk about the New York stuff, the Cloud9 and the scrap thing. So, what the fuck? Well, there you go. So, hold on a minute, guys. So from the information that I've gathered, again, no one told me this. From I've gathered is there's not a done deal yet with the Toronto scrap Cloud9 situation. From what I've gathered, actually, you know what? I tweeted something, or I responded to a tweet of the owner of Toronto Ultra. Hold on a minute. Let's see what I said. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute, guys. Let me find it. This is just random, by the way. I didn't. So Scrim Intel. Shout out to Scrim Intel. I've been trying to get him on the podcast. He's from the EU, so we're gonna have to figure that out as far as like time. But Scrim Intel tweeted earlier today. Yesterday. Things are moving in the right direction for this deal to get done. That's C9 in the scrap deal. All right. He said things are moving in the right direction. This is from at Scrimtel, at CDL Scrim Intel on X. So he said, sources, things are moving in the right direction for this deal to get done. He's talking about C9 or scrap going to C9. The owner of, is it the owner or the CEO? A co-founder, CEO of Overact Media. Is it Overact Media? Hold on. Yeah, Overactive Media, which owns the Toronto Ultra spot, commented on that tweet and said not true. He said not true. Now, that could be, he could be trolling as far as like maybe just trying to diminish Scrim Intel's like sources or whatever, right? Or he could be telling the truth. I think the deal with scrap going to C9, like I said it before, isn't as easy as people think. Cloud9, they're not a poverty org or anything, right? I'm assuming they have decent investors. But at the end of the day, scrap is scrap. That's a top dollar free agent or a top dollar player. He's got, his star power as far as stars within the CDL is high. Scrap is a CDL championship away from, he's a CDL champs win from being like a huge star, right? Just because of his personality, and he's disgusting at COD. So C9 has to have an idea of what they're willing to spend to get him, right? And again, they made the move already. They pretty much already released Sib, right? Sib's already got stuff going on for another team. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So you have to assume that Cloud9 is kind of full in on getting Scrap. Now, a lot of times, right? You have an idea of how much money you want to spend, and then all of a sudden, you ever go to the grocery store and say, all right, I'm just buying this. I'm not spending this. I'm not spending this much, blah, blah, blah. And then you get everything, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, what? How does this much? What the fuck? Like, I think that might be maybe what could be right now happening with the Cloud9 and the negotiations with Toronto. Now, Toronto knows what they have. They know what they have. Okay. They're not going to just bargain with you. Okay. Also, I have a theory that Toronto is trying to get out of the league, right? So they're definitely not going to take a loss with getting rid of the star player within their team, right? So they're going to want top dollar for him. And again, they have all the right to, right? C9 might have bit off a little too much more than they can chew on, in my opinion. Now, does the deal still get done? I would assume so. C9, by letting Sib go, kind of without saying it, is like pretty much saying like, yo, we're getting rid of this top tier talent in Sib to get the top tier talent in Scrap. So they're they have that quote, that saying, they're putting all their eggs in one basket, right? Now, think of this. Imagine Scrap and the C9 deal doesn't happen. What do you do at C9 now? What do you do? Who are you going to pick up to replace Sib? Right? That's worst case scenario for Cloud9. That's worst case scenario. But it's not something that can't happen. Right? It's a very realistic scenario. Okay? Now, on the other side for Toronto, right? Not even Toronto, for Scrap. Okay, where are you going to go, Scrap? Where are you going to want to go if this doesn't happen? Think about that. Are you going to stay in Toronto and try to build a team, a different team? Who are you going to get? Right? And if you still want to leave, where are you going to go that's going to have, what team are you going to go to that's going to want to make a move to pick you up? And more importantly, you're going to have the cash to pick you up. Think about that. That's a tricky position for both sides on this negotiation. Tricky position for Cloud9 to be in, and tricky position for Scrap to be in. We'll see, man. Stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Listen, you guys know once I find out, I'm recording the podcast immediately. We'll see. Stay motherfucking tuned. Stay tuned. All right. On the next stuff. Let's talk about LA Thieves. LA Thieves. All right. We're talking about the LA Thieves. Okay. This is a frustrating one for me. This is a frustrating one. All right. It's a real frustrating one. Because I like everybody in LA Thieves. I like them all. Pause. I love Ghosty. Love Cramp. Like Joe Thieves. I like all those guys. Right. I was very, very happy to see the way they ended the season. Very, very happy. Right. In my opinion, the way they ended the season, all those players should have been a lock to stay together going into BO6, in my opinion. Right? Think about this. You got a young team. right? You got your superstar, Ghosty. You got your young gun, Joe Thieves, right? You got your other young gun, Kremp. And then you got Nasty. Like a young team of guys who are playing at a high level, right? Going into BO6, which is going to be, it's going to favor that cracked movement. It's going to favor that split second timing that you're going to have to, decision making that you're going to have to make, right? I thought going into BO6, LA Thieves were in my opinion going to easily be able to sneak into that top 4 easily. Talking about Atlanta FaZe, Optic, C9, if it happens with Scrap, C9, and then you would have LA Thieves. Just with their current top 4. The top 4 that finished second at the Esports World Cup, right? Finished 4th at Champs, right? Just with that squad. Okay. Now, Roster Mania hits. Now we're hearing all these rumors. I think the biggest stamp of approval that there was something happening was Kremp and Nasty taking LA Thieves out of their bio. I would assume they're not doing it just to troll. Something happened. Right now, the roster that's been floating around for LA Thieves is Ghosty, Sib, Joe Thieves, and Envoy. All right. Now, let me give you my opinion on that. Okay. Once again, on paper, team looks crazy. You got all the firepower you need. You got the leader that you need in Ghosty, right? You got a sub duo with Envoy and Joe Thieves, right? You got Sib as your he could be your flex, or you can swap him main AR or Ghosty main AR. You could do that, right? So as LA Thieves, you have all your bases covered, right? With this potential new roster. Now, here's my problem with that. Okay? Here's my problem with that. The problem with that is we're talking about the game. We're talking about the game. We're talking about this team at the very, very best case scenario. Winning. Right? That's the best case scenario for every team. Winning. Okay? Now, a good team is a team that can lose, but the vibes stay at a certain level. They don't drop, but they don't drop down, right? A good team can lose and players not hate each other, right? A good team can lose and that guy won't blame that guy and that guy for the reason why they lost, right? Good teams don't do that. Okay. Now, when you look at teams like this potential LA Thieves roster, when you look at them, right? Again, firepower, all that's all there. As far as individual players, all ridiculous. Now, now if you're a GM for LA Thieves, are you thinking about the personalities? Right? You think about that. Right? We know Sib is coming from the situation he's coming from. And we've seen what he did in the offseason so far with the yapping and the talking and F that culture and this and that. Right? Ghosty is Ghosty's a pretty calm guy. Right? Envoy seems like a pretty calm guy. Right? Joe Thieves seems like a pretty calm guy. Now, if this team happens, again, on paper, looks good. If best case scenario happens, which is they win all the time. Okay? But if they lose, I think breaking up the team that you just had in MW3 that peaked at the end of the year, right, was more valuable to the start of next season than assembling what you think is going to be an all-star team. Okay? Because now you got to, all the work that was put in, listen, when you build a team like LA Thieves built the team last year towards the end of the season. All right? You got to remember, let's pull up LA Thieves' record last season. All right? Let's pull up the record last season. Okay? Major 1, they finished T12. Okay? T12. Who was that roster? Afro, Cammy, Ghosty, Joe Deceives. Right? Major 1, we're talking T12. Major 2, T12 again. Who's the roster? Afro, Ghosty, Nasty, Kremp. Okay? So now they're making moves. They're trying to figure out, all right, we need to find a formula. Right? They get rid of Afro. So they get rid of Afro. And then the team then going into Major 3, they finish T8. Top 8. All right. Better than top 12. Top 8. That roster, Ghosty, Kremp, Joe Deceives, and Nasty. All right. Now we have our core. All right. We have our core now. Okay. We have our core. These guys are at least not finishing T12. All right. First event as that squad finished T8. Major 4. Where do they finish? Top 6. All right. So now we went from the beginning of the season as a team, as an organization, being, in the bottom half of the league. We make some moves. We find a team that seems to fit together. That people want to play each other. They're playing together. The pacing's good, and all of a sudden we start seeing improvements. We go from T12 to T8 to T6 and Major 4. Okay. Now we're going to champs. Right? We go to champs, that same team. Now we're at champs and we finish top 4. Okay. So the beginning of the year, we have a team that finishes top 12, T12. Second event, T12. We make roster moves. We get lucky and add the right group of guys who want to play together and who are good enough to compete. Right? Not just get rolled over on. Good enough to compete. We go from T12, new roster, we're at T8. Second event as a roster together, T6. Now we're going into champs, T4. After champs, we go to Esports World Cup. We finish second. Okay? I mean, I don't know how much momentum do you want to have as an LA Thieves team. Okay? So now you got a team that peaked at the very end of the season. Okay? When you want to peak, pause. When you want to be at your best is at those times. Okay? Going into BO6, you have a lot of momentum with that squad. Going into BO6, you have a lot of momentum with that squad. And you decide to make a change? You decide to erase all that work of team building, chemistry building, right? Learning the game together, learning how to play together. You erase all that because you want to build, or what you think you're building is a superstar team. Okay? So now you're rolling the dice. You're rolling the dice that the chemistry is going to be there. We're going to want to play together. No one's going to be on their bullshit. No one's going to be crying. No one's going to be bitching. I don't know, man. I feel like you were at the blackjack table and you finally got on the run, and then you stopped and said, you know what, I'm going to change it up. I don't know, man. About an hour ago, you were playing this way and you were down to $30. You switched it up. An hour later, you're up 1,000. And now you want to go back? I don't know, man. Doesn't sound right. I don't know. Just my thought, guys. My thought. Who am I? Who am I to have that thought, right? I don't know. Listen, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I want to keep this shit short. I don't want to. We might be at 45. What are we at? We're at 50. Fuck, almost an hour. I want to keep this shit short. Listen, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Again, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please drop a like. Please subscribe. Drop a comment. Whatever you got to do it. All right. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Drop a like. Let me know in the comments of what you think of the BO6 beta. Let me know in the comments of what you think of LA Thieves' potential new roster. Let me know in the comments what you think of Toronto Ultra and Scrappy. And Cloud9. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Can Cloud9 afford it? Who knows? Listen, guys. Love you guys. God bless. Hope you have a good weekend. I'll talk to you guys later this week. We out this bitch. All right. Take care of each other. Clean your ass. We're out here.